This is True OF Entertainment.
Welcome to the Lost Dollar Business Club, where we talk about business, and not just business. We talk about what makes businesses go up and what makes businesses go down. If you're interested in businesses, this is where it is. We talk about the global economy. We talk about global politics. We talk about everything and anything business related that affects your life on a global scale as well as a local scale. And don't miss after the show, Lost and Found.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, David.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are on the planet.
That's right. That's right. We do have a global audience for the Lost Dollar Business Club, and we don't have a global. We only have the two of us on today's show. We don't have our entire global cast because of the CrowdStrike. The CrowdStrike update that has shut down Microsoft computers all around the world.
Yeah. So just you and I in the club today, Michael. Nothing else.
It's just you and I in the club today. It's been a long time, I think, since it's been just you and I in the club. So we're going to make this happen.
Yeah. So it may be a bit to just our apologies then to our regular listeners. It may be maybe a little bit of a shorter show today because obviously our other members can't contribute. But we'll see.
We'll fill the air. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world of real estate, in the world of technology, and even we'll touch on the world of Google Fitbit, which is related to Cory Doctorow's phrase of enshittification of internet features. So we'll talk about that as well.
Okay.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bandicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bandicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Okay, all right. So crazy things are happening with the CrowdStrike update. Flights are canceled. People aren't able to even use their computers, their Microsoft devices. Even David's wife is having problems with her computer at work.
Yeah, I mean, she probably their wife to be. She's my partner, so let's leave it that way in case the litigation starts.
That's right.
Yeah, she sent me a message I think first thing this morning about 8 o'clock or so when she got in. Said that all the computers were down, and all the computers were down for the multinational that she works for. And the original her original message to me was, hey, I think we might be hacked, with ransomware or whatever.
Yeah.
And then throughout the morning, she's been sending me all these, morning my time, then in the Netherlands, she's been sending me all this stuff. And about 5 minutes before we started the show today, which is what I'm in now, late 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Holland. They're still sitting around drinking coffee. So she will be incredibly frustrated when she comes home because she's a lady who likes to keep busy and just sitting around doing nothing. But no update as to when it's if it will ever happen today. So
that's the thing. I mean, so we're hearing about we're reading about on TechCrunch, airlines and airports across the world, Germany, France, the UK, China, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan. People cannot check in. Ticketing systems are failing. No ability to I mean, even in the U.S., federal airspace officials announced a national ground stop of air traffic just today. So there's I don't know if that's continuing, but there's a lot of trouble. 911 services, the London Stock Exchange, and the amazing thing is this is all because of one software update. Yeah. One single software update by cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike, which supplies cybersecurity protection for 60% of the Fortune 500 companies, which is just a massive number.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is strange, isn't it, that we're actually we're on StreamYard. They don't seem to have an issue with it.
Well, there's no cybersecurity for our services. They don't care. I'm kidding.
But yeah, so how would you be feeling today then if you're if you're working for CrowdStrike? How would your heart rate be?
Oh boy, I mean, I have a friend of mine who's in the cybersecurity industry, and he says when you're in that industry, you're already at a very high level of stress all the time because you're always on call, and this is as we were saying before the show, heads are going to roll for this. I mean, this is CrowdStrike has acknowledged its role in the crash, and their shares are down 18% just today. So this is just a massive story. So they're probably pretty stressed out.
Yeah, yeah. I think at the moment they've probably got all their corporate lawyers, having with a fine tooth comb going through their T's and C's to see whether or not they're going to get caught up in litigation going forward. Because if it's just one line in there which gives people the space to sue them, it's like CrowdStrike RIP. Then I think.
I mean, yeah, it's a big problem, and if you think about the whole cybersecurity cloud infrastructure, I mean, all of our computers, so many of our computers are dependent on software like this, and yet they're so sensitive to just one failure, that this could cause such a global outage. Big problem for the day, and it really calls into question the overall resilience of any of these software products, where we rely on one central authority to deliver sensible security software updates and not cause the blue screen of death, as has happened all across the globe today.
But on the plus side, of course, I mean, there will be corporate anarchy today. There'll be lots of executives running around screaming and shouting and doing stuff.
Yeah, very important.
But on the plus side, of course, it doesn't seem to have affected social media. Now, can you imagine if social media was down? People would have to start talking to each other. They wouldn't be able to look at all those cat videos. The whole porn industry would collapse. I mean,
so the fact that this was an enterprise, the fact that this was a B2B, business to business enterprise problem, means that we can still commentate on it and have some fun with it.
Yeah. Although I would not like to be working for CrowdStrike today, because
definitely not.
I think maybe you could have just shout out to anybody who's at CrowdStrike if they're still there on Hollywood Saturday morning when this comes out. Have a look out your window, see if the crowds are out there braying for your blood.
Well, one thing that crossed my mind before we move on to our next real estate topic is think about if you actually wanted to cause an outage like this, maybe you would be the one to hack the update, the CrowdStrike update itself, and use that as
a conspiracy, Michael.
Just saying, no hacking group has, just to be clear, no hacking group has come forward to claim.
Oh, let's throw it out there. Let's just say it's the Iranians, because they're always good for something. Missile Boy, he might be doing his thing.
Right.
And the Fortune 500.
I mean, that's a lot of companies affected. That's a lot.
I was gonna say the Chinese, but if I do, I might not be able to eat at any restaurants anymore. So
no, we don't want that.
I'll take that back. But hey, the Russians, are they clever enough to do it? I know they have an open industry of hackers.
They do. So you're saying it could be a state actor. All right. Well, I was thinking more of a rebellious hacking group, but maybe they're also regimented these days anyway. That the states.
Are we going back to the lone wolf theory then? So we have a lone wolf activist who wants to.
Just take down.
What do you think about it? I mean, we joke about it, but you made a very valid point. If you know, it is a weapon of war, isn't it? It's a weapon of
It very well
protest,
could be. Yeah.
you know, or a weapon of, hey, listen, I'm here, I'm telling you something. So,
Causing causing chaos is something that lots of people want to do. So and if you wanted to do it, this might be a very clear vector and way to do it.
well,
But there's no evidence of that so far. There's no evidence of that so far.
No, but you know, I'm just trying to get the clickbait up. You know,
Well, look,
computers might be working over the weekend. Certain people might be doing overtime over the weekend, so maybe listening to the Lost Dollar Business Club as well. So you know, get a little bit of conspiracy and a little bit of clickbait. Hey, I mean, that's what we do.
That's in part. We're talking about a lot of good issues here. So you heard it here on the Lost Dollar Business Club. You know, questions about CrowdStrike's update and the cause of the blue screen of death. Now we can move on to another topic, which is another technology-related topic. There's a new software product called Forewarned, Forewarn, and this is an app that is for the real estate industry in the United States, at least. I'm not sure if this is applicable to the rest of the world, although data mining is the topic of the day. This application, this little app called Forewarn, for $20 a month, you can get detailed information on prospective real estate clients with just their phone number. So you get the phone number if you're a real estate agent, a real estate professional, you get somebody's phone number. Or, hey, if you're not a real estate professional, maybe you just sign up for the app and pay the $20 a month. But you get information, all the publicly available information about this individual, such as their vehicle and property records, bankruptcies, judgments against them, foreclosure histories. And the idea is that you're getting all of this information about your real estate client without having to visit courthouses and municipal offices, which could take a long time. So now you can see
this is like a pre-screening then to see whether or not it's a valid potential client. Is that the way they're looking at it?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So the company
or stalker's paradise by the sound of it.
Or stalker's paradise, sure, yeah. And the thing with it is they know what they're doing. They actually say a company executive at a recent webinar with Illinois state real estate agents said, quote, "Don't tell the prospect that they are not permitted or unqualified to purchase or sell a property because of information you obtained from Forewarn." Because potential buyers are not notified when they're screened by the app, which is what some people were asking about. Do they know?
Who justified the act then? The app. It would appear if it's totally against everybody's privacy, then surely the app should be banned.
You could say, I mean, this is the debate about aggregating information like that, is that this is, in theory, this is all public information about individuals that have to be registered with an authority. It's just that they're aggregating this across all of these authorities into a single.
This is a way of saving shoe leather then.
That's what the argument is for it, and also that they're getting it. They get this information from what you could say is a confidential source, but really it's this app called Forewarn.
Yeah. So, well, it can't be confidential if it's in the public domain. Then.
It's right.
It's just an aggregator, is it not?
That's what it really sounds like. It's based on public records.
Yeah. But
normally you'd have to go to several different places in order to get this.
Well, maybe. I mean, I've been having this discussion with my kids for years, but everybody who signed up for social media has already sold their soul. So what difference does?
Yeah, the data's already out there.
Yeah. It's just a way of Yeah, you literally pay the $20 or whatever it is a month, to save your shoe leather and give you a little into so you click of a button, you've got everything together. Is it so?
Well, and think about the toughness of a real estate, this tough job of a real estate agent. Although, there's that big lawsuit that the real estate agencies lost earlier this year around sharing of commissions.
I
But
can't see many people crying into their beer over real estate agents.
yeah, I don't see that either. But if you think about it, they're spending their time to drive people around to different locations, and if that person is, has had several bankruptcies or doesn't
dubious background.
dubious financial background, maybe you wouldn't spend your time doing that. But just a phone number, it's just amazing. Just a phone number.
Yeah, well, it's just a key to an aggregator, isn't it? It's as simple as that, So
yeah.
But if you think about it the other way around, if you're refused, I mean, how are you going to feel about that? When all these agents, when everybody jumps on board, like all these estate agents all start, or real estate agents, you call them in the US, they all jump onto this bandwagon, and then you'll end up then on a blacklist, and then the blacklist becomes very legally dubious.
Right. Well, that's what we're really talking about here. We talked a little bit about ethics last time. And so what are the ethics of aggregators collecting information about you, either public or even semi-public information, and then sharing that for $1, sharing that for $1? And
I think it's more of a moral issue then.
There are no morals, people say. The morals are.
But if the law, okay, so all this information's available in public domain boxes,
right?
And they would have to go and walk down the line of boxes and take out every single piece of information. Yeah. So you're working as a physical aggregator. Then somebody comes along and says, "All right, you don't have to do that. You just you just have to go to one box once." Well, that makes a lot of sense for people who are time poor, because that's always the thing in business. You're always time poor. So I can see why people would want to go to that. But saving them time / saving them money could potentially put you onto a blacklist. And the thing is, then, is that blacklist immoral or is that blacklist illegal?
Right. That's the big question, and this is a question that our legislators have to grapple with, because you can very easily see how this data could be used, as the record talks about this article that brought it up.
I'd say stalker's paradise.
Discrimination. All this data could be used for just outright discrimination. I mean, would you call it financial discrimination? I mean, maybe maybe it's just you're trying to gauge somebody's financial background, but it tells more about what car you're driving. It tells.
But of course, how originally for the subprime bubble burst. I mean, wasn't it?
Although that was,
Obama, was it Clinton who opened it up? Because before then, you were all postcode aggregators, postcode discriminated. I think if you lived in certain areas, it was also assumed that because you lived there, you had a certain, financial or a cultural background, and so therefore you weren't of any value to give somebody a mortgage to, and that was considered to be equal rights for everybody, and they opened up the floodgates, and then everybody could get money because it was cheap then before the bubble. But it would be the same with this as well. There's like the moment that you get the telephone number, the telephone number will tell me where you live then, because that information I can find as well, or even just a postcode. The postcode itself, I could determine roughly what your income is, which sort of areas, an area with young families, etc., etc. Loads of ways that you can interpret just a few pieces of the puzzle.
I remember being fascinated by that data when I was younger. I mean, it was very easy to find. It's still very easy to find postcode, zip code based demographic data about the people in there.
Magazines used that, didn't they, for subscriptions? Because if you had Donald Duck delivered every day every week for a kid's comic to the house, right? As they do, they have a Donald Duck magazine here. They would know you have small children, and so you can roll out from that. Oh, small children probably going to be in this age group as parents. So no good offering them, discounts on coffins, but you could offer them a discount on life insurance going forward. There are loads of ways that the data can work for you. A very powerful tool.
It's a great area.
And then somebody says, "Hey, all you got to do is pay us," and they've done all the work, built the app, which literally just scrapes the internet anyway.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, in the United States, they have the Federal Trade Commission, which we've talked about a few different times. But there's they're here to really protect consumers, and in this case, with this Forewarned app, they're saying that they're not they call it a consumer reporting agency, because they're just supplying the data. They're not guaranteeing the accuracy of it. They're not telling you that you should screen your people based on that. But there's an argument that's weaving its way through the FTC now, or at least by the Electronic Privacy Information Center, that says that maybe they do constitute consumer reporting, and then they have to follow consumer reporting laws, which is a very different set of activities, meaning that you have to give the consumer the right to know whether that data was used against them. If you're saying we're not going to deal with you because you have too many bankruptcies, you got to be able to challenge that data, especially if it's false. Or mistaken.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Michael. I'll do something slightly early in the show today. So is that a lost dollar or a found dollar, do you think?
Well, this is a tough one, because I think at the end of the day, for the consumer, it's a lost dollar because of the lack of transparency. But for the people who are trying to get more data about who they're dealing with,
and your local stalker, of course.
Huge found dollar for the local stalkers. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's going to have to do that then. There you go.
You got to do that. All right, we've got one more tech article, and then I think we can talk about some other current events. But people might be aware that Fitbit was bought by Google in 2021, and for the past 3 years, apparently it's just been extraordinary disappointment just by regular Fitbit users, because Google is apparently removing key features and making it more difficult for people who have visual disabilities, and really because they're you can't, for example, you can't access the Fitbit dashboard on your computer now on the PC. You can only access it on the actual device, which doesn't make sense to me. But people have been talking about this for a long time, and what we're really pointing at is what Cory Doctorow talked about on the last show he was on, which was the enshittification of technology, which is how these big tech companies will acquire technology just to make it worse. So either they can squeeze more money out of you for charging you for new features, or in this case, maybe suspected, push you to a different product, so that you can discontinue the product that people seem to love so much.
Well, maybe the lemon's already been squeezed. I mean, most people that I know here are wearing them, but they all come from China.
Oh, so, they're wearing the rip-offs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not rip-offs. They're it gives you most of what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Fitbit. Yeah, maybe Google bought it for the name. Maybe they lack the ability to keep it as a prestigious product. It's
let's take a look at what some of these complaints are. Removing key. So let's see. I hope Fitbit does not end up like any other Google purchase that turns into a nightmare product. Google, instead of removing things that users love about Fitbit, why not improve them? So apparently they're not listening to their customers. A lot of the complaints are related to a lack of response. So they're not even responding to their customers and what they're saying.
But is it then Google /Alphabet, or is it the Fitbit company itself?
Right. Well, in this case, it's definitely Google. It's definitely Google because they've been operating.
Well, maybe Google thinks we know enough about people, how fast they walk, how long they sleep. All going back to big data again. They probably had Fitbit in the portfolio long enough to give them a reasonable, population profile, and after that, it's just another thing to put around your wrist to look trendy when you go to the gym. So,
well, and apparently one that doesn't even last very, very long because a recent recent software firmware update to the device causes the battery to drain abnormally fast as another flood of complaints.
Sounds like more like an Apple product then.
That's right. Going after the battery. Yeah, that's right.
Well, going back to the Chinese, fitness apparatus, what sort of watches things, my partner uses one, been using one for ages, and the only reason why she stopped using the last one and bought this one is because she got something to do with the wristband that had worn through, and it had given her an allergic reaction because she's not very good with metals and stuff like that. She has a metal allergy, and she couldn't buy a new wristband for it.
Could not buy.
No, so she ended up getting that via dropped from the company itself via Amazon.
Yeah,
that's the last one that she had, and the one before that again. Yeah, it was also another Chinese one, but linked to a Chinese phone company, I think, and it just stopped at a certain point of time.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
So
not gonna last.
But we're like 3-4 years in for nothing dollars. Certainly, let's put it this way: for not Fitbit type dollars.
Not Fitbit dollars. That's right.
So now the Chinese know how long she's.
That's the calculus. That's the calculus that people make. Is to figure out. Look, is it going to work for the price point as long as I'm going to get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say la vie.
I'll tell you, I don't wear these watches. I don't want some. I only wear an Apple Watch, and it's an older Apple Watch when I exercise, just when I work out. And it's just to track my my heart rate and.
Oh, it's enough. It's enough. They'll know enough about you in that short period of time. They've already profiled you.
Well, they've certainly profiled me. I've been an Apple customer since 1984. So.
Yeah. Well, now they know. They know what your heart rate is. They know. Yeah. How much exercise you take, and of course that information will be packaged probably and sold to a health insurance company.
Well, let's hope not. Although I do consider myself to be fit. So.
Yeah. Well, what can we say?
Well, what we can say is it's probably time for Lost and Found, which I trust that you have a good one for today.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get straight in. A short show today, guys.
Welcome to this week's Lost and Found, uncovering dollar winners and losers, where we discuss dollars lost and dollars gained by various companies and projects.
Okay.
Yeah, lost and found. Well, Michael.
Sounds well. I've got a big loss, another loss for Google. I'm just going after Google today. Another loss.
Well, you're an Apple guy, you know.
That's
show
true.
your colors. Show your colors.
Full disclosure. I'm an Apple guy. But what happened is, so Google launched a URL or had a URL shortener. You know, those websites like Bitly that shortens URLs, and they replaced it with these things called Firebase links. And what happened is Google's links that uses the service, since they're shutting down the service, those URLs will no longer work. So now they're shutting down their shortener service. Anyone who's been using it to shorten their links and share those links with other people, they're going to get the old 404 error, not found. And that's going to be a big loss for anybody who's still using the Google's URL shortener, which you would use because it's a Google product. But they're shutting it down. They're shutting it down. As of August 5th.
And we just love the 404, everybody's favorite.
Yes.
You know, just slightly less annoying than the you know, the black screen of death that you get as well when everything's totally gone. So okay, so that's definitely
there you go.
And of course, for you as an Apple user, it's a
okay. Well, I don't use that one, so there you go.
Are you? Of course, it's just the two of us now, so I have to rush to find what I did earlier on. Okay. Well, strangely enough, what can I say? There is a group of people, I think, who are in the society that are extremely hard done by, and they need to be considered and supported, I think, going forward. And that group of people are second-hand car dealers. They're incredibly hard done by. And what happened here is that a group of Rotterdam-based, so it's Dutch-based dealers, they paid 5.1 million euros for 260 BMWs that survived a massive fire. It was a fire on a freighter. This was in July 2023, just off the Dutch coast. 3,523 cars got totally, written off in the fire, but this 260 BMW survived. Out of which they now paid 5.1 million euros for. But now the Dutch judge says they're not allowed to resell them.
After the fact.
Yeah, can you hear after the ball? Mark, can you hear all the violins now in the background? And what happened was, at the moment that this came to fruition, then via the judge, BMW stepped in and seized them all as well.
Whoa!
Because of safety concerns, which of course then justified what the judge has said about it. And BMW's argument was, we cannot guarantee the safety of these cars because they may have been too badly damaged by the fire. So it's $5.1 million
down the drain. Or out to sea, maybe.
Yeah. So unfortunately, as well, I'll make a bit of a joke about the fire itself. But one crew member lost his life on that particular day. So we'll say that as well. That was a really negative thing. But they eventually got her into port. She was totally wrecked, the Fremantle Highway, and but like vultures around the carcass, everybody was dived in to see what they could get out of it.
Right. Well, doesn't work on vehicles. I mean, that's a tricky safety
I'm sure the salvager was really happy that somebody said, I'll give you 5.1 million
Right.
euros and I'll take their 260 BMWs off the boat for you.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there thinking, we're going to sell those for lots of money.
I mean, yeah, 200 or 300 of them, that's not a bad price.
Yeah.
But if you can't sell them, yeah. Should have done the research.
Yeah, well, I think maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe because the judge thought it's too much of a bargain and he decided to vote against it. I don't know.
Well, maybe he was a Mercedes driver, so
that could well be.
he was paid off by Mercedes. No accusations here. That's not a real accusation against that judge.
No. I'm sure the judge was totally impartial.
Yeah,
and will be invited to all the Rotterdam second-hand car dealers' Christmas lunches between now and eternity. That's for sure.
Right, that's right. Well, David, we've had a good show. I think it's been a good run with the two of us. We covered a lot of ground. And next week, we will be having the whole crew back, I believe. So it'll be back to normal.
There's of course certain members of the Lost Dollar Business Club are caught up in the CrowdStrike.
Well, that's assuming CrowdStrike makes some repairs. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So they maybe caught up in that. So if that's the case, but if not, Michael, thank you so much.
Only time will tell. Everyone, remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the Lost Dollar Business Club, and if you want to be a guest on the show, be sure to let us know at the link at the bottom or in the comments section.
In the comments section. Okay, thank you very much. Till next week then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well done.